Hello friends, today's topic is what is Naxalism? What are the causes for the growth of Naxalism in India? How we can mitigate the menace of Naxalism, and finally conclusion. Friends, why I have taken this topic? Because you know that on 28th March this year, 30 Naxalites were killed in two encounters in Bastar region of Chhattisgarh, and this was a big success of security forces. The Union Home Minister claimed that the Naxalite menace was going to end by the end of the March 2026. Similarly, the Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh also claimed that it was his topmost priority to end the menace of Naxalism in Chhattisgarh. Friends, now question arises as to what is Naxalism. Friends, Naxalism is influenced by the ideology of Mao Zedong, the architect of the Communist Revolution in China. It aims at establishing a communist rule in India by violent overthrow of the present regime. The movement started in a village called Naxalbari in the province of West Bengal in 1967, whereby a group of revolutionaries revolted against the local landlords and government officials. The group was spearheaded by the communist leader Charu Majumdar, Kanu Sanyal and Jangal Santhal. The movement later on spread in the state of Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Odisha and undivided Andhra Pradesh. These areas are called Red Corridor. Although the CPM government in West Bengal succeeded in controlling and wiping out Naxalite movement in Western Bengal, but the movement spread in central and eastern India. Naxalites reject parliamentary politics. It believes in guerrilla warfare. It wants to spark peasant revolution. It solicits the support of intellectuals living in urban areas. Friends, now the question is, what is Maoism? As I have already told you that Mao Zedong popularized this ideology based upon the ideology of Marxism-Leninism, but he adapted according to the situation in China. He believed that in a country like China, which has agrarian economy and has large number of feudal lords and rural workers, China cannot wait for urbanization and the rise of urban proletariat to cause revolution. As per the ideology of Marx and Lenin, friends, as you know that according to Marx and Lenin, it was urban proletariat class which would bring revolution to dismantle the existing old order and establish the dictatorship of the proletariat, leading to the establishment of a classless and stateless society. But according to Mao, vanguard of the revolution would be peasantry and workers living in rural areas who will dismantle the old order by eliminating feudal lords and state machineries. Mao believed that by the encirclement of cities and cutting off the supply of food, vegetables, essential commodities, water, cities can be overpowered by peasantry, and ultimately they would be successful in dismantling the state machinery, thereby establishing a communist government. So Mao believed in mass mobilization of peasantry and workers living in rural areas. He also stood for cultural revolution to transform culture and ideology in order to purge bourgeoisie influence after the establishment of communist rule and to ward off revisionism. Ideology of Mao very much influenced the third world countries the Communist Party of Nepal, Naxals in India, the Shining Path Party of Peru, borrow from Maoist ideology. After the end of Cold War, the influence of Maoist ideology very much weakened. However, in those areas where there is a acute inequality and land alienation, the Maoist ideology still persists. Heavy reliance of Mao on violence and authoritarianism further weakened its ideology. Moreover, China itself shifted from communist ideology to state-controlled economy, further made a dent into the Maoist ideology. Friends, what are the causes for the growth and rise of nationalism in India? Number one, land alienation among tribals. If you see the red corridors on the map of India, you will find that these areas are heavily populated by tribals, right from the Jungle Mahal area of West Bengal to Jharkhand, and then Orissa, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, and undivided Andhra Pradesh. So land alienation has been the major cause for the growth of nationalism in India. Failure of land reforms, extreme poverty among tribals, tribal displacement on account of mining, construction of dams, and establishment of industrial enterprises, poor basic infrastructure in remote areas, and the weak administrative structure further fuel the growth of nationalism in those tribal belts. High rate of unemployment among tribal youths, corruption and absentee administrative apparatus, excessive police brutality, fake encounters, gap between the government officials and tribals, conflict between mining barons and tribal community, fragmented response of state governments, and uncoordinated approach between the central and state governments in the initial stage of the growth of nationalism. Projection by Naxalites as the custodian of Jal, Jameen and Jungle, that is water, land and forest, further instilled confidence among tribal communities to become or to get themselves converted to the ideology of nationalism. Now, friends, what are the variants of different Naxalite organizations in India? The first organization that grew in India was CPI Marxist-Leninist, CPI-ML, launched by Charu Majumdar, Kanu Sanyal and Jangal Santhal in 1969. CPI-ML was established in 1982 by Binod Misra. It stood for the mix of parliamentary politics and mobilization of peasantry and rural workers through armed struggle. And so, this organization participated in the electoral politics of Bihar and Jharkhand. CPI Maoist is another Naxalite organization, and it is a deadly organization which came into being in 2004 by combining People's War Group and Maoist Communist Center. It has been declared as a terrorist organization by the government of India. It is a deadly organization and is very much active and operating in the state of Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Telangana and Maharashtra. There are also splinter groups like CPI-ML People's Liberation, CPI-ML New Democracy, CPI-ML Jan Shakti. These splinter groups are very much active in the states of Bihar, Punjab and Andhra Pradesh. But their base has already become weakened because of the fragmentation and infighting. Now, what is urban nationalism? Urban Naxals are those people who are academician, intelligentsia, students living in urban centers and who are imbued with the Maoist ideology. They act as fundraisers spread propaganda and rationalize Naxalite violence in rural areas as a consequence of government repression, high-handedness and exploitation of tribals by contractors and government officials. They are very much active in cities like Delhi, Hyderabad and Kolkata. This term of urban Naxal was very much popularized by government officials, security agencies and right-wing politicians to discredit them. Critics also argue that this terminology is used to crush the dissent among intelligentsia living in urban centers. Friends, now what are strategies of Naxalites operating in different parts of India? These are guerrilla warfare. They do not confront directly with the security forces, knowing that in the direct fight they will be loser, and so they have adopted guerrilla tactics. They use improvised explosive devices. They kill government officials and especially target police station and police officers. They run parallel government in Naxal affected areas. They mobilize marginalized communities and instill confidence among them that they are protected of their land, forest and water. They extort money from contractors, mining barons and government officials to raise funds to operate in Naxalite affected areas. They are engaged in illegal trade. They use propaganda and ideology to win the tribal youth in their side. They eliminate landlords, government officials, contractors. They sabotage roads, railways and telecommunication lines in order to disrupt communication, ambush police officers and contingent of police force and security forces to cause heavy losses and to demoralize central as well as state governments. They indulge in looting weapons of security and police officers and import high-grade weapons from other terrorist groups operating in India and outside India. Government has taken several measures to eliminate or mitigate the menace of Naxalites. These are deployment of Central Reserve Force like CRPF, BSF and commandos. The security forces have been deployed in various parts of Naxal affected areas for area domination. At every 15 kilometer, a post of a special armed force has been established to instill confidence among people in areas like Bastar. Collection of intelligence, coordination between state police and central security forces, and counter IED measures are some of the important steps that central government and state governments have taken to tackle the Naxalite menace. Apart from security measures, central government and different state governments have also launched developmental works in Naxal affected areas. Government has opened residential schools for tribal students. It has also declared Naxal groups as terrorist groups and they are tried under UAPA. Government has also organized health camps in tribal belts. It has also provided employment opportunity to tribal youths. Radicalization of tribal youths was also launched through Salwa Zulum. Government also established Astaria Battalion for the recruitment of local youths so that they can be weaned away from the influence of Naxalites. The different measures adopted by central and state governments resulted into the drop of Naxalite incidents by 77% in 2021. The number of affected districts also came down from 223 in 2008 to 90 districts in 2023. However, there are still pockets of Naxalite influence where there is need for urgent redressal of land disputes and tribal rights. So friends, it is necessary to mitigate Naxalism in India, and this can be done through a mix of security measures, a strengthening of intelligence network, area domination, a speeding of developmental works, resolution of land disputes, employment opportunity to tribal youths, empowering tribals by strengthening panchayat system at grassroots levels, bridging the gap of communication between the local officials and tribal communities. Thus, there is a need for a continued dialogue between government officials and tribal communities. Friends, now I conclude. Naxalism is the biggest threat to the internal security of India. Thousands of police officers and civilians have been killed in a span of 40 years. Although the strength of different Naxal organizations has weakened in the last 40 years, yet there are certain pockets which are still under the influence and control of Naxalites. So a mix of action by security forces and developmental works initiated by the government would go a long way in eradicating or mitigating the Naxalite menace in India. So friends, I have concluded my lecture. If you have any suggestion, please share and subscribe my channel AJIS Academy Indore. Your feedback is very much valuable for me. Thank you very much.